Everything else that was there last night, and your Twins are first place in the Central.
I do know that, yes. I don't know what date it is, though.
And you don't care.
I got to go to sleep hearing my dad talk about Yankees news, and I got to wake up to Ed Henry.
I knew I liked him. I knew I liked
no
you, Dad.
escape. It's Tony at night and Ed in the morning.
Let's change the conversation. That's a very cool dress.
Thank you. You know why you like it, right? Because it's patriotic.
It's very
red, white,
patriotic.
blue. I brought it in today. I said, you know what? I should have held this the 4th of July.
No, it is Armed Forces Day, and we're going to be celebrating all morning. Who do you want to honor and thank today? We want to get your photos at friends@foxnews.com as a chance to thank loved ones, friends, everyone all across America.
Yeah, I did a little research this morning, which is usually what I end up doing for the show. Everyone.
That's the first.
It used to be the Army Day and Navy Day and Air Force Day, and then Eisenhower combined them all together into Armed Forces Day. I learned that 40 minutes ago.
Well,
but I like to say it like I've known it forever.
Nice work.
So, happy Armed Forces Day.
We begin with the Attorney General, William Barr. Remember, he's been under fire from Democrats, and remember that the week started with him joking, pushing back against Nancy Pelosi, saying, "Where are your handcuffs?" when he was up on Capitol Hill. He ends the week in San Salvador, highlighting what the Justice Department is doing to crack down on MS-13. He does exclusive interviews with our own Bill Hemmer, talking about folks like James Comey right there, as well as
It's a really interesting interview.
Absolutely. And he interviewed with the Wall Street Journal, where, among other things, he bluntly said, quote, "Government power was used to spy on American citizens." That's got folks like Comey a little bit upset this morning.
Yeah, so Jim Comey, the former FBI director, took to Twitter and had this to say. This is Jim Comey. He said, "The AG should stop sliming his own department. If there are bad facts, show us or search for them professionally and then tell us what you found. An AG must act like the leader of the Department of Justice, an organization based on truth. Donald Trump has enough spokespeople." He went on with another tweet saying the president claiming the FBI's investigation was treason reminds me of something a Russian once said. A lie told often enough becomes truth. That shouldn't happen in America. Who will stand up?
Why is he weighing in at all? Are people curious? Seriously, why? I know he wants. Well, I know he wants to be a political commentator. That's his new role. He wants to be out there weighing in on politics left and right. But aren't people tired of listening to him? I mean, this is the guy who completely messed up when it came to the Hillary Clinton investigation. It was so ridiculous watching him skirt around gross negligence. Oh, she was extremely careless, but I'm not going to call it gross negligence because I don't want there to be any criminal violations here. And he messed up so royally that so many people are so tired of him. I don't even know if people on the left have the stomach for Comey's commentary.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he has a base or a constituency prepared to defend him. He's out there flapping, and now that Bill Barr has said he's willing to go back and look at where it really started, he knows he's under fire.
Well, look, and Molly Hemingway had a great tweet where she was basically saying, isn't it interesting that James Comey, who's being investigated basically by Bill Barr, is tweeting out there and attacking the Attorney General. When the president does stuff like that, it's obstruction of justice, according to his critics. James Comey, who's maybe a little fearful, is all of a sudden lashing out. Well, what has him worried? Why is he lashing out? Here's what Bill Barr told our own Bill Hemmer.
Been trying to get answers to questions, and I found that a lot of the answers have been inadequate, and I've also found that some of the explanations I've gotten don't hang together.
Why does that matter?
If we're worried about foreign influence, for the very same reason we should be worried about whether government officials abuse their power and put their thumb on the scale. I'm not saying that happened, but I'm saying that we have to look at that.
James Comey has a lot to say about you. What do you think of him?
Well, I've noticed one of the talking points these days is, oh, isn't it a tragedy? You know, Barr is losing his reputation or his legacy is being tinged because of his service in this administration. I don't think those people are really concerned about my legacy.
Baller Bill Barr. I mean, this guy doesn't care. And he doesn't care about his critics. He wants to get to the bottom of it. It's very refreshing to see someone in such a senior position be that candid.
Yeah, he shouldn't care.
He shouldn't.
He shouldn't care at all. And there's so many people surrounding him that do care. They care about the court of public opinion. This is a guy who's coming out and saying, I don't care what you think of me. I'm not here for the court of public opinion. I'm here to figure out why this investigation was begun in the first place. I'm here to investigate the investigators to see if what kind of spying was going on. Was it merited? He wants questions answered. This is like the only guy on the whole scene that's actually looking for questions questions to be answered and doesn't care what the media or we have to say about it.
And he's also fair to people. I mean, he said about Bob Mueller. He said Bob Mueller wasn't charged with looking into the dossier and that. His job was there collusion, was there obstruction, Russia's interference in our elections. He stayed right there. Now it's our job to look at the poison tree of the investigation and find out what happened.
And Bill Barr making clear he doesn't care what the critics say. He's going to investigate this no matter what. Saul Weisenberg rose to his defense last night. And remember, he's the former deputy independent counsel. And he says what Comey was saying in his tweet is a total lie. Watch.
The Attorney General did not slime his own department. The Attorney General said that if government officials acted improperly and abused their power and put their thumb on the scale, that's something that everybody should know about. Last week, I went to Rod Rosenstein's farewell at the Department of Justice. Christopher Wray was there, Bill Barr was there, Rod Rosenstein was there, Jeff Sessions was there. Does that sound like somebody who is sliming his own department? It's a complete lie. Bill Barr has not said one thing since he became Attorney General to slime his own department.
That picture that Saul Weisenberg is talking about, the farewell ceremony for Rod Rosenstein, pretty stark when you see Jeff Sessions there, the former Attorney General, who didn't seem to have the same spine that Barr now has to say, look, I don't care about the critics, I'm going to get to the truth.
Isn't it crazy, though, the amount of controversy that Barr has stirred just by saying, listen, I don't know exactly what happened. I just want to find out what happened. I just want to look into it. The idea of him just saying, let's look into it, has stirred so much trouble on the left. They can't bear the idea that this guy just wants to get to the bottom of the facts. The same way that he bottom lined that Mueller report, and he said, this is the actual case. Let's get through, Mueller's novel that he wrote here, and let's just bottom line it. That bottom line seems to really bother people. Facts are really stubborn for some people.
Well, because they hadn't been covering it for a long time, and then suddenly the Attorney General comes out and talks about it, and they're forced to report on it. But we get sick, I think, every once in a while of talking about 2017 again and again. So let's move fast forward to 2019. We know there's a crisis at the border. We know it's not manufactured. Well, now one of the steps that they're having to take is because they're so overwhelmed with asylum claims at the border. We're getting new information that we'd heard it might happen. Now it is happening, that they're flying migrants or from the border to other locations in order to get them processed more quickly.
We've seen this in Florida, maybe happening in San Diego as well, to deal with the crush of migrants that are coming across. Because look at the numbers. Since October 1st, nearly 520,000 people have been apprehended at the border, the highest in a decade. To Pete's point of a moment ago, remember, just couple months ago, Democrats were still saying this is a manufactured crisis. Now you can see, in fact, based on those numbers alone, regardless of your political affiliation, this is a real problem. Whether you call it crisis, whatever you want to say, there's a real problem at the southern border. And you now have not just Republicans in places like Florida, but Democrats saying, why are these migrants now being flown to our state? Well, they've got to do something with them because they don't have enough detention centers to deal with them as they come across trying to claim asylum.
One person who's come out and said, Governor Ron DeSantis, criticizing the plan to send illegals to Florida. Take a listen to what he had to say.
We cannot accommodate in Florida just dumping unlawful migrants into our state. I think it'll tax our resources, the schools, the health care, law enforcement, state agencies.
That's a good way to put it, unlawful migrants. And what's happened is because they're trying to comply with how long they are held before they're released, hundreds of thousands of folks in family units have been released pending a date when they're supposed to come back and report based on how they adjudicate their asylum claim. And they're not coming back, and they're staying in the country. So if you're a governor of a state, you've got a lot of responsibilities, limited resources for your tax-paying citizens. Why would you want more illegal migrants brought to your state, putting a strain on those
And
systems?
there's a Republican in Ron DeSantis who normally supports the president and big picture does support him on his immigration approach, who's saying, look, I'm on the receiving end of the migrants now being sent from either the border near Texas or Arizona across the country to Florida. But there are also Democratic officials in places like Palm Beach County who are saying, we can't deal with this. What is going on here? And yet there are Democrats in Congress like Maxine Waters who continue to lash out at the president, call his policies, call him, the president himself, a racist just for coming out this week and basically pushing for a broader immigration reform plan to deal with it. So you have local Democrats in places like Florida saying, yeah, there is a problem we need to deal with, and national Democrats like Maxine Waters saying stuff like this.
Well, this business about you must speak English. We're going to give you points for speaking English. And we don't want poor people. We only want those people who are earning substantial wages already. All of those things are not keeping in step with the way that we treat human beings. And even the fact that, you know, he used to talk about chain migration when you were able to help others in the family come. He's going to limit that. And I think that some of those policies are racist.
Okay, so I just end it with, and I think all of it's racist, which comes down to the argument they ultimately make. And I thought the rollout of this immigration plan from this White House was actually very good. I think it's something people can connect to. Not all family members can come, a limited subset. We want you to learn English and take a civics test because that's important to the fabric of our country. We think having skills is a good thing for the people that come in. They actually didn't reduce the amount of legal immigration, which some conservatives were critical of. It more or less stays the same. It's a responsible plan. The Democrats can't like it because they can't be for anything.
The Washington Post has an editorial out this morning saying the president's plan is actually a good first step. They're not saying it's the greatest thing ever, saying it's a good first step to get Democrats to the table and have negotiations. But Jen, how do you get Democrats to the table when some of their leaders, like Maxine Waters, say racist? No matter what, right at the beginning.
Trump's not saying anything about race. What is her implication? She's calling this racist. So, Maxine, are you implying that people who are high-skilled workers couldn't possibly be of certain races? Because Trump's not saying that at all.
That's a really good point.
He's saying we care about merit, we care about high-skilled workers, we care about bringing the best and the brightest into this country. This isn't about race. You're the one who's making it about race. Someone should ask her to explain herself.
Don't forget your photos
that.
for Armed Forces Day. Folks you want to honor, and your family, friends at FoxNews.com.
Yeah. We're going to turn to some headlines for you now. The U.S. is warning commercial airlines flying over the Persian Gulf amid rising tensions with Iran. Diplomats telling airliners overnight they are at risk of being misidentified. They also warned planes could experience interference with their navigation and communication systems. Tensions have been rising since the U.S. accused Iran of threatening its forces. A former college football star hailed a hero for tackling an armed student at an Oregon high school. Kanan Lowe wrestled the student to the ground before police arrived. The student had a shotgun, but it's unclear what he planned to do with it. Local reporters say the student may have been suicidal, but police have not confirmed that. Lowe is a coach and security guard at the school. Tornadoes, hail, and damaging winds strike several states overnight. One twister forcing a semi-truck onto its side in Kansas. A monster tornado touching down in Oklahoma. No injuries have been reported. Tennis ball size hail pounding parts of Indiana. The National Weather Service says severe weather will move toward the plains today.
All right, I'll pick this up now. Brooks Koepka makes history at the PGA Championship. His 36-hole score of 128 is the lowest in major championship history. He's been on a roll over the last few years. He's leading right now by 7 strokes in the PGA Championship. Masters champ Tiger Woods, he won't be teeing off around 3 today. He missed the cut by 1 stroke yesterday, so he will no longer be playing in this tournament. So he got one recent major victory with the Masters.
What happened? Just off his game a little bit, or what?
Off his game. He was not hitting the fairways, kept putting it in the rough, and Bethpage Black is a tough course right here in Long Island, New York. That'll do it. Ahead of his Fox News town hall Sunday night, 2020 Democratic hopeful Pete Buttigieg releasing his policy platform to try and separate himself from the pack. So what's in the plan, and are his policies any different from those of his Democratic rivals? Let's bring in radio talk show host Tony Katz. He's on the ground in Indiana. He knows about it. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
So let's work through it, because Pete Buttigieg has tried to say, as the mayor of South Bend, and we can get into his record on the ground, which you know a lot about, but let's first talk about his plans for the nation. He's trying to say he's a different kind of Democrat. Is that true?
It's true that he says that he's a different kind of Democrat. That's totally true. But policy-wise, he's not, and we've known this now for a good long time. But you got to understand that it's the town hall you guys are doing tomorrow with Pete Buttigieg that causes him to release the policy proposals that he did just yesterday. When Elizabeth Warren said she'll never come on Fox News, that was a signal to everybody else that Fox News may not be acceptable. And what Pete Buttigieg had to do was tell his base, oh, no, I'm really, truly truly with you, look at all the things that I believe that are just like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris.
He's trying to reassure the left, perhaps, and so let's go through it. Pathway to Medicare for all. That's one thing in his policy plan. A commission to propose reparation policies, implement the Green New Deal, gun control regulations, and replace the Electoral College with a straight popular vote. Tony, that sounds like the makings of not a different kind of Democrat, but maybe AOC policies, Elizabeth Warren policies with maybe just a little bit of buffing on it.
No, it is. Remember, he is the same old, same old. He just has a really good rapper. He comes across extremely well. He has done an incredibly good job of managing persona on the campaign trail, and he has some good people around him who have been able to do this as well. But when you look at policy right from the very beginning, when you look at his identity politics, his hashtag Never Pence strategy, always going after the vice president, even just recently going after the president said, I have no problem with Pete Buttigieg being married, and now Pete Buttigieg is like, well, that's not good enough, because if you're okay with it, you might be human, and we can't have you being human. These identity politics things are just like the rest of the field.
Well, let's talk about that, because what is the feeling there? You're in Indiana, and we're not. You're referring to an interview that the President of the United States did with our own Steve Hilton. That will also be airing on Sunday night, in which the President said, I don't care that he's gay. His husband's out on the campaign trail. This is good for America, essentially. And yet, as you point out, Pete Buttigieg, on the other side, has been essentially attacking Mike Pence's faith and his Christian faith. Why the dichotomy there?
Well, the Never Pence strategy is for him to be able to say, I'm the moral one, and it's Mike Pence's policies are the immoral, that are immoral. Mm-hmm. But he's also, Pete Buttigieg, in favor of the Equality Act. And when you take a look at that, that's not about allowing people to be free. It's about suppressing other people. If the Religious Freedom Restoration Act right here in Indiana was wrong, the Equality Act is equally as wrong. We're covered by the Constitution. That should be enough.
Last question, though. Why is it, though, that Pete Buttigieg, to his credit, seems to be breaking through more than a lot of other rank-and-file Democrats? He's higher in a lot of these polls than people expected. Real quick.
He doesn't come across as a total jerk. I mean, plain and simple. The policies are the same, and I think towards the vice president, he has been a jerk. But in the main, he's cool, calm, collected. I think Chasten, his husband, does him a tremendous service there on the campaign trail. But slowly but surely, the veneer is cracking, and we're all starting to see it.
All right. Well, everyone will get to see it, and let him lay out his policies in the Fox News Town Hall Sunday night right here. Tony Katz, appreciate you coming in. Good morning again. Some quick headlines. Missouri's governor says he will sign the state's new abortion bill, now sitting on his desk. The legislation will ban abortions after 8 weeks. There are exceptions for medical emergencies, but not for pregnancies that result from rape or incest. And Louisiana's Democratic governor is breaking with his party, signaling plans to sign his state's new heartbeat bill. The bill still has to get through the State House, though. The legislation bans abortions after 6 weeks when a baby's heartbeat is normally detected. Pete?
Love it. Thanks, Ed. Well, in a new op-ed, one former Clinton White House staffer says Congress needs to get over the Mueller report and pay attention to our nation's opioid epidemic.
Ryan Hampton was once homeless and addicted to heroin. He is the author of American Fix, Inside the Opioid Addiction Crisis and How to End It, and he joins us now. Thanks so much for being here, Ryan.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your story of addiction, particularly to heroin, and how that's impacted your passion about this particular issue?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned, I once was a Clinton White House staffer. I had worked in community organizing, had this up-and-coming career in political organizing, community organizing, and then as a result of a prescription and later being cut off on it, I turned to heroin, ended up homeless on the streets of Los Angeles, looking for help and having a nightmare of my own story, trying to find treatment, trying to find recovery. And since getting into recovery in 2014, I just celebrated 4 years in recovery this past February. I've lost over 24 friends, people I love about, people I love, people I care about, people in my community, to preventable drug overdoses. And that's fueled my passion to kind of put aside being a Democrat or Republican or party and work towards solutions to the addiction crisis. It is ravaging our community. This is the worst public health crisis we've seen in a generation. 200 Americans a day. A lot of people I know and care about are being lost to these preventable overdoses.
Yeah, we've got a statistic, almost 50,000 deaths from opioid overdoses in 2017 alone. You mentioned close to 200 a day. This is a real problem. There's no doubt about that. But your FoxNews.com op-ed is excellent, and you go at the politics saying this endless talk about Russia and the Mueller report, it's distracting us from our ability to actually address stuff like this.
Look, I think, anybody who knows me to see me on Fox News and to say that might take a step back. And look, I have my own personal opinions and feelings about the Mueller report. I think every single American does. But the bottom line is, where we are today, it is paralyzing this country. It is paralyzing our opportunity and a lot of the good bipartisan will that was built towards ending this epidemic. I didn't just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to write this and put this on Fox News. There's an important story I need to say. I've been working with members of Congress, chairmen of committees in the Senate and in the House for now over 2.5 years. We have worked together to craft some very progressive legislation that the president has signed. We have gotten funding to communities. We were really taking a step forward. Now, let me tell you this. In the last 7 weeks, I have been trying to work with these same members of Congress on some new innovative approaches that communities are backing that would increase block funding for recovery support services. Look at things like harm reduction, recovery tax credits. I can't get as much as a return phone call from these members of Congress, let alone their staff. Everyone is so caught up in the Mueller report, and I know how polarizing it is, but at the end of the day, and look, I'm not here to make a determination on what Congress should be doing, but what I am qualified to do as someone who is on the front lines of this crisis is say that there is a real human cost to these decisions. We have got to get outside the Beltway and start getting back to Main Street USA, to communities like my own, and focusing on issues that matter to me. Look, the outcome of what happens with Congress and the Mueller report is not going to make one difference for the mom or the dad who has to go identify their child's body today, right? And on that toe tag, it doesn't ask you how you feel about the Mueller report or even if you're a Republican or a Democrat. And I think that Americans are going to take this issue to the electorate, to the ballot box in 2020. I know that I am. Look, I don't know if I'm going to support the president. I probably won't. I mean, that's apparent. But I can't, in good conscience, say that this is good for our national dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much political capital out there and time to be had on the calendar.
Ryan, thanks for sharing.
It's turned into political theater.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your personal story. I think that personal stories make all the difference. And hopefully Democrats are listening to you. We've heard from a lot of Democratic voters that feel that issues that are really important are being ignored at the expense of talking about Mueller and the Mueller report and things of that nature that are political talking points all the time. So we appreciate you coming on here.
Ryan, thank you very much for your time.
Very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You got it. All right. Well, summer is
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, my buddy's not here.
So Dick Vitale, how awesome is that? The only correction I have to make to him is I do have a jump shot, as you saw in that video. Last year I won.
That was one shot played on a loop.
One shot played in a loop, as you point out. I don't make that many jump shots, but I was with him last week, and that's why I wasn't on the show, because Dick Vitale, a great sportscaster, raises so much money. He's battling pediatric cancer. And in this one event last weekend, you see him there, he raised over $4 million to help kids with cancer. There are dozens of kids every week who find out they have cancer. He has made it his life's mission. Now, we should point out, I got him to tape that little voicemail for me, joking about.
You did an interview with him.
Because I interviewed him, and it's going to be on Fox Nation on May 22nd. We're breaking it out this coming Wednesday.
Super cool.
We have an hour-long conversation. He opens up. It's fantastic. But I said, hey, my buddy Pete, he won this year in the March Madness contest. Could you tape a voicemail shout out to Pete?
And here it is.
And you surprised me with it. Watch.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, my buddy, Peter, where you been? Peter Hegseth, baby. You talk about a superstar. Army guy. Unbelievable. You played at Princeton. Hey, I heard that you were the 12th guy on an 11-man roster. Unbelievable. You weren't a diaper dandy, but I know one thing, baby. You're a PTPer, solid gold right now. Yes, sirree. Fox is lucky to have you, baby. Hey, make me your agent.
You're hired, Dick. You are hired as my agent. I'll tell you this. I mean, growing up listening to Dick Vitale, I mean, it's all, and then he calls you a PTPer, a primetime player.
Right?
Oh, my
But
goodness.
he said you're not a diaper dandy, which is when you're a kid and you're like a rookie and you're really good. He calls you a diaper dandy.
You're a phenom, you're a diaper dandy.
He said you were the 12th man on an 11-man roster at Princeton.
Right.
So how do I get a mention? Do you guys have to send me to basketball camp, learn how to shoot, and then I can get a mention as well? Because I think I have it in me.
Idea.
You're going to have to make
I think I have it in me. I mean, your dad might be able to help me out.
My dad offered to teach you.
There you go. Sign me up. I know I can do it. I'm pretty strong. I think I got a good.
Coach?
There you go. And then I get a shout out, and you know what? I bet I could do it.
I'm going to call Vitale. We're going to get you some practice. We get you to start hitting some shots, maybe Memorial Day, 4th of July. We need some time, right?
Yeah.
We need some run up.
You don't need that much time. I'm pretty good.
We'll get a shout out.
Watch out, New York Knicks. I'm coming.
Did you call them the New York Nets?
Knicks.
Oh, okay.
You're going to score a lot of touchdowns.
Her sports knowledge is lacking.
Listen, it's just a little, it's all right. It's coming along. All right, turning down to some headlines for you. An NYPD officer is arrested in a murder-for-hire plot to kill her estranged husband. Authorities say Valerie Cincinelli gave her boyfriend $7,000 to hire a hitman. They say she asked him to kill his teenage daughter and her estranged husband. The boyfriend went to the FBI and worked with them to bust her. She could face up to 10 years behind bars. And the U.S. announces plans to lift steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada and Mexico, clearing a major hurdle in a new trade deal between the three countries.
Hopefully Congress will approve the USMCA quickly, and then the great farmers and manufacturers and steel plants will make our economy even more successful than it already is, if that's possible, which it is possible.
Vice President Mike Pence will travel to Canada later this month to meet with the Prime Minister on advancing the new trade deal. Live ammunition from an F-16 fighter jet that crashed through a warehouse has been safely destroyed. Military officials detonated it yesterday. The F-16 went down near an airbase in California during a training exercise. Authorities say it's a miracle the weapons didn't explode in the warehouse. 13 people were hurt, but are expected to luckily be okay. The plane may have had a hydraulic problem before the crash. And those are your headlines. Adam, how you doing over there?
Hey, I'm doing well. The weather out here on the plaza this morning is fantastic in New York City. Unfortunately, though, when we take a look at this weekend's forecast, not beautiful across the entire country. Take a look at these maps as you're looking at spots getting up into the upper 70s in the middle of the country. That is going to fuel what eventually is going to become some big weather. A couple of storm reports, everything you're seeing there in the red, that is a tornado in the middle of the country. That's going to be an issue throughout the entire weekend. So we've got areas of severe weather, at least possibly some severe weather today. That is going to linger into tomorrow. So there's going to be some places to pay attention to as we're watching some storms sweeping across the country. But here in New York City, here on the East Coast, it's going to be beautiful. So now I'm here with the second and third best basketball player currently standing outside right now.
We got to get you a little shout out.
I know. I met Nicky V once.
We'll get him into it.
Yeah, he tweeted about me. I was a diaper dandy.
You wore diapers. All right, well, the summer travel season is around the corner, and if you're like me, nothing says America or summer like the All-American Road Trip.
That's right, and Kurt the Cyber Guy is here to show us how to take your trip to the next level. People getting ready, they're making their plans.
They are. I want to reinvent the road trip, and you should with this. So when you think in the past about RVs, you would think about, well, plunking down a ton of money to own one, or you might think about a rental place where you have the giant sign that says 1-800-RENT-A-RV or whatever on the side of it, and you get to it and you're like, well, this isn't really what I had in mind. So what if you could put like those RV dreamers together with someone like us that also have the passion for like good stuff when we go out on a road trip? You end up with Outdoorsy.com. Outdoorsy is an RV marketplace, 38,000 RVs around the world that you can get an access to. Like this one. This is a Mercedes Sprinter. This is amazing. This is a sportsmobile customized thing. Outdoorsy has this online. Yeah, Mercedes on the
Mercedes camping.
Look inside this thing. It's incredible. You can comfortably sleep 4 people, and you can tap into these things online so easily. for the kind of price that we never saw before. So $129 per day, about $775 per week at Outdoorsy.com to rent this, and it has all the bells and whistles that you want. You get to pick it online, and you end up with stuff like
nice.
that. That is so nice. Inside
I mean, for an RV of this size, it's a good space.
It is great space, and up there we call that the penthouse. Put another 4 people.
I call that the timeout house.
Yes.
Put the kids up there.
And have a peek at this right here, if we can swing the cam to the left and show you this. So Nextbase, and we also have video of this in action, these are the world's leading dash cams, and what they do is you hook it up inside of your car, and it's going to record your entire road trip. It's also leading in a direction to where this country is going to start offering discounts at the insurance company for having this, because it keeps track of everything, and your car or RV is never left unattended.
And it'll catch those candid moments that you don't have your phone ready for. But
correct.
You can
and
roll
then it's got a Series 2 version of these that are just now hitting that are outstanding. They have Alexa power inside of them. They have emergency SOS that's automatic for it, that's going to call for help for you. It's incredible where this technology is going.
So what's the app that pulls it all together?
Ed Henry, you are so smart. Once you plan your route, the smartest tip for reinventing your road trip is to download the apps of those places you're going to hit along the way.
Okay.
And Pilot Flying J has 750 locations around the country, and they just launched this app that is going to rock the industry. This is incredible. You put in your route, it shows you where every location is. You not only can help use this for a road trip, but you can also unlock a shower and make a shower reservation at many of their convenience stops.
Make a shower reservation.
I took as a kid. Right? It's crazy. You can also, when you download the apps on your road trip, you save money. So these have offers inside of them that, for example, you use this, it unlocks the pump, and you also get 3 cents off the gallon.
Okay.
And when you're taking a road trip, every little bit counts to save some money.
Right.
And then you get free offers inside the store because they want to get you inside. Very, very
it's better
smart.
than just like looking at what's on the sign for the next exit.
Correct.
This is going to be
and it tells you the fuel prices along the way.
This would be great for our next buddy trip for Fox and Friends.
It would, wouldn't it? It would be a lot of fun.
We're going to go see America.
We should go do a Fox and Friends road trip and do our show from different places.
That's a great idea.
Let's do that. All right. I've made the decision that we're going to do that later on in the summer.
Hey, Pete, I'm going to put all this at cyberguy.com. We'll also have video later. If you have any questions, just reach me online.
Well done. Cyberguy.com. Check it out.
All right,
Jed.
Thanks, guys. That RV, by the way, bigger than my first New York City apartment. That is not a joke. Former FBI Director James Comey slamming Attorney General Bill Barr.
All right, some quick headlines. Some rideshare drivers might see their apps get deactivated for allegedly jacking up fares at Washington's D.C. Reagan National Airport. Some Uber and Lyft drivers are accused of turning their apps on and off several times a night in order to create surge pricing. Drivers tell local media they do it because their pay is so low. Wow. And the Uber of the Sky makes its first successful flight. A German startup completing a test run of its 5-seat jet-like air taxi. The company hopes to have the flying taxi up and running in major cities by 2025. Pete?
I want to try that. All right, thanks, Ed. Disgraced former FBI Director James Comey lashing out at Attorney General Bill Barr in a late-night tweet storm, writing, and I quote, "The AG should stop sliming his own department. If there are bad facts, show us or search for them professionally and then tell us what you found. An AG must act like the leader of the Department of Justice, an organization based on truth. Donald Trump has enough spokespeople." Well, here to react, President of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, thanks for being here this morning. It's pretty rich coming from the former FBI director. Why is he going after Bill Barr so hard?
Well, Mr. Comey has significant potential criminal liability over his misconduct when he was FBI director in terms of potentially abusing his office to politically attack then candidate Trump and then obviously President Trump. So his conduct under criminal investigation, or at least ought to be, by Mr. Barr, maybe Mr. Durham up in Connecticut. Remember, he stole FBI records concerning President Trump, leaked them illegally to the New York Times in order to get Mueller appointed. He managed the whole FISA process as FBI director, signed off on that fake dossier that even Mr. Mueller couldn't deign to give any credibility in his report. Every time the dossier is mentioned in the Mueller report, he calls it unverified. So Mr. Comey is someone who ought to be under investigation and who frankly ruined the credibility of the FBI with the help of Loretta Lynch, the Justice Department.
Yeah.
And so you have someone who's competent and a truth teller, and that's the type of person a political hack like Comey hates.
So, Tom, you think this isn't just about narrative for Comey? He has potential real liability based on the investigations that are ongoing about him.
Sure, he's already under investigation over his handling of those FBI memos he stole from the FBI about President Trump. He took President Trump's FBI files and then leaked them. So we already know there's an investigation, or at least it's supposed to be an investigation going on. And now there's a broader investigation thanks to Mr. Barr coming on as Attorney General. And we don't know what's going to happen with the IG report that's looking at the FISA abuses.
That's the Inspector Horowitz, his investigation. But there's been an appointment of Attorney John Durham. He's the one that Bill Barr has appointed to look into investigating the investigators. How much power will he have? How deep will this scope go?
Well, he's a U.S. attorney, so he has access to grand juries if he needs them. I think he needs to, we need to get past this idea that we're going to do an administrative review of these issues and bring witnesses before grand juries. So if it's going to be another Huber, it would be it would be a disappointment.
Yeah.
But, you know, Durham seems the type of guy who has a record of looking at significant government corruption investigations. So it's another reassuring move by the Attorney General. And let me just say one more thing about Mr. Comey. Isn't it interesting how Comey's comments echo the Democratic talking points attacking Barr? Just proving how political an FBI director he was in an age where we kind of want the FBI director to be a lawman, not a politician.
Well, if you hear what his subordinates were writing and saying, some of the text messages, someone created a culture where stuff like that was acceptable. Starting to look a lot like
his top lawyer was coordinating with the Clinton campaign's lawyers, the DNC's lawyers, just before the election on getting Trump on Russia. And he's lecturing us about slime.
Yep, it's ironic stuff. Tom Fitton, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Peter.
All right, well, year after year, we're used to hearing from left-leaning commencement speakers. But this year, there's actually some good news. Seems like some schools are finally getting the
As a child, what did you think would be awesome about being an adult, but isn't as awesome as you thought it would be? That's a really great and profound question, Dagan.
Men.
Wow. That's a great answer, actually.
I'm not going to expand on that. Just men.
It's just the opposite sex. Or it doesn't have to be, I guess. Juan?
Wait, you're saying that when you were a little girl...
I just thought it'd be awesome to, like, go on dates and, like... And it kind of never happened.
Oh, stop. Your husband was a great date, obviously.
2 husbands.
Oh, I give up.
Not simultaneous.
Oh, man. Oh, I love this segment. Juan?
Well, I mean, when you're a kid, it looks like the adults have power and they have money. So they have control. And you think, oh, one day I can decide when I want to get up, when I want to go to bed, what I eat. And then when you actually have power, you realize you have to earn the power. You have responsibility. If you make mistakes, people blame you. You think, oh, geez.
It's not worth it. What about you, Jesse? You're a child at heart.
Yeah. So you know when you're younger and you can't go on the rides at the fair?
I'm still at that point.
Yeah, you know. And then at my age, when you finally are tall enough to get there, it hurts. Like it hurts your neck.
You sick.
And you know, you get ill. You know, it's like not as fun. It really.
You have great problems, Dana.
I would say bossing people around is not as fun.
Ah.
I was going to say decision making, right? You think that if you're the decider, everything's going to be great, and like, oh shoot, I just wish somebody would make decisions for me a couple times.
Every year that you got older and went to something new, you realized how many more choices you had, and you just wanted to be that young kid again, where you didn't have to think about anything.
Choices are hard.
Choices are hard. That'll be the title of my new book. Choices are hard, and I'll co-write it with any doctor.
Okay.
Okay. Any doctor, call me. We'll write a book together. All right. If the president gave you a nickname, what would you hope it would be, Jesse?
Dirty Waters.
You thought of
That's
this.
a good one.
You had that one ready to go.
Yeah, it was like you.
Wait,
you've hoped for this.
I got to do what I did with Dagan. Why?
I'll tell you after the break.
Okay.
Dana?
Giant killer.
Ooh.
I'm like, I took a picture with Brad Parscaldo. He's 6'8". I looked like a ridiculous human next to him. He's quite tall.
Juan?
I don't know, Jedi Knight or something. You know what? He calls me childish. I don't appreciate it, but he stopped tweeting about me, so I appreciate that.
Dagan?
Fake Dagan.
Fake Dagan. That's fake Dagan.
Some of that being true.
Oh.
Fake Dagan.
A little bit.
Oh,
I would
From
just.
the neck down.
I just want to. I know he watches the show. Just tweet at me, sexy Greg. Sexy Greg.
How about Little Greg, 2 Ds?
You have to do this. You have to do this when you say that.
Yeah. No, I don't even need to do that. Oh, this is a good question. This is from Henry. How do you all react to an autograph request? I know, Dana, you'll throw hot coffee in someone's
I
face.
just scream.
Yeah, you'll
I'll think, you know what? It's a big honor to be asked for your autograph.
It is. It really is. And you know this question is from somebody a little bit older, Jesse?
Yeah,
because
so
nobody does this.
They just want a selfie
They want
now.
a selfie.
You know what annoys me when they do that, though, when they don't have a pen?
Oh.
So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then they're like,
oh, do you have a pen?
Like,
Do you have a pen?
Do you have a pen? I don't carry around the pen.
Or they don't have anything to sign. Boy, that's a real big problem, Jesse. You're just insulting somebody who wants your autograph.
Yeah, you can sign things on people.
Yeah. Thank you. Dagan?
You're big time enough. You need to start carrying around a Sharpie with you everywhere. That's what NASCAR drivers do. They always have a Sharpie for autographs.
Is that a knife?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I call my knife, Sharpie.
I rarely get asked for autographs because without makeup, I look kind of like Marty Feldman.
Oh.
But when I do, I think I go overboard, and I'm like, hey, let's go get breakfast. Let's go have lunch. And they feel like I'm being overly familiar with them, and it kind of makes them a little frightened.
Juan?
Well, I get asked a lot because I write books, and so you go to a book signing, people want to sign it. But here's the thing, I don't like it when they resell them. I always think, hey, wait a minute, I got pushed out of the money here.
Yeah.
But the other day, I got a request for good money, actually.
Yeah.
To sign like 1,000 books.
Oh, wow.
And if they're going to be leather-bound editions of a book I wrote almost 30 years ago.
Wow. I was leather-bound once.
Oh, my gosh.
You know,
That'll be your nickname.
yes, leather-bound Greg. Leather-bound
What about Sexy Greg?
Yeah. You know what I do? I always, if it's an older gentleman or gentlewoman, I will sign it as Brian Kilmeade, and then I'll swear at him.
You know, I was going to the subway the other day, and the guy walks by me and goes, hey, love you on Fox and Friends. I think he thought I was Kilmeade.
No, it wasn't that. That was Ducey who said that. Ducey was on the subway.
Yeah, that's where he rides.
That's how he rides.
Okay.
One more thing is up next.